I couldn't see. I can't see my hair. Fluff it. This is a show that happens every Wednesday, allegedly, at what time? 9 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. It's where you get to know more about your favorite broadcaster, both on and off the platform, even if they're not a streamer. So far today, we've had two fantastic guests, but we have a third one, Mr. Jimmy Chims, a man who is well cultured from all around the world. He's a veteran of the platform, and if you will, please request the box. We're gonna have a great conversation with him. But before we do, I'd first like to say thank you for your time. There's so many things that you could be doing. You being here supporting some of your favorite creators is such an excellent and such a great use of your time, because they do what they do because they love it, and this is a great way for us to connect. I'd also like to say thank you to these 10 awesome people, to Ms. Universe LR1111, to OG Vibes, Almost Good Live, Chris. They did a little heart for their C. That's like the old Guitar Center G. Do you remember Guitar Center? I think they recently changed it. Guitar Center had this cutout of a guitar, and they're like, yeah, that passes as a G. Chris, this does not count as a C. Like, at best, it maybe counts as a, I don't know. Anyway, thanks for the gifts. Blake Premier in 6th place. We've got Friend in 5th. 4th place, Uma of the Lotus Lounge. In 3rd place, we've got Tiff Set, who's got a battle coming up. 2nd, Big Country, who I need to DM back. And 1st place, we've got Carrie. Thank you so much, Carrie, for all your generosity. I really do appreciate you. Okay, on that note, we have our 3rd guest this evening. He's the man from around the world. Please welcome to the show, Mr. Jimmy Chims. Hello, sir.
Hello, Mr. Chris.
Good to see you, brother. How you doing?
Good to see you again. Always a pleasure.
Yeah.
Being friends, c'est toujours un plaisir. C'est toujours un plaisir. Oh, look at that crown. Appreciate it, guys.
You and I have been getting pretty acquainted lately, which is good. I like it. I like it.
We have. Thank you, guys. Everybody in the comment, I see all the love. I see all the gifts. And Kay, unfortunately, you're using the wrong flag. Kay, that is not the French flag. That is not the French flag, Kay.
Let's talk about that. Let's talk about that. So we're gonna stay, because I gotta make sure that with our time we get to know you, because this is your spotlight.
Thank you.
So in case anyone's underneath a rock or can't hear you right now, you originate, or at least have a first language that is not English. What is that language?
Absolutely. So my first language is French. You see that flag? Blue, white, and red. My second language is Italian. My third is actually German. And English is my fourth.
Fourth language.
Yeah.
I am confident that you speak English better than me. And it's the only language I know.
I am flattered, but no, by the way, the way that I speak, my accent is pretty crazy. And I always say this, the way that I even say weird is weird. So
no, it's got flavor to it. It's got the right little sprinkle of red pepper flake, right? I like it. I like it. Jimmy, so did you grow up in France, or what is your story? Why is French your first language?
Thank you so much for the wheels, guys, and thank you for the gift. I appreciate you. So I grew up all around the world. I'm from Paris, France. My dad is French. My mom is Italian. And I grew up in so many countries that I can't count them. But last time I checked, I've been around 30 countries in the world.
Really?
Yeah, and that's the reason why I'm able to speak 7 languages, 6 fluently, and the 7th one is Portuguese. I'm still working on it.
Okay, to connect with all of our Brazilian family that we've got here.
Absolutely, Brazilian and Portuguese as well.
Yeah. It's a primary language there. So why were you moving so much? Was it as a kid that your family needed to relocate a lot, or what's the story there?
That's a great question, and I got to say this. We come from a family where we love to travel a lot. My sister is from the UK. My brother is from Japan. My other brother is from Italy. So basically, we are spread out all around the world, and I'm here in the United States, right? So it's pretty crazy, but also the fact is that not only that we love to travel a lot, I also used to move from one country to another every 3 years. because my dad used to be one of those diplomatic people that
Mm,
never stayed in the same country. Because yeah, we used to move a lot.
that makes sense. That makes sense. Do you feel like you ever were able to get grounded and have a home? Do you have a place that you feel like is home?
You know what? That is a great question because most of my friends ask me that question, and guess what I say?
Hmm.
I say my home is everywhere I feel the love.
Ah,
So I would say, call me Mr. International.
I don't think your dad was the only diplomat, Jimmy. What a good answer.
Thank you.
To not make any of your friends or family around the world upset. That's funny.
So
Um,
I feel home everywhere I go.
I love.
Japan, China, Portugal, Brazil, France, Italy, anywhere, even the Philippines.
Sure,
I love
sure,
the
definitely.
Philippines.
By the way, no matter where you are at in the world, make sure you're hitting the favorite button on Jimmy. He's in the box right now. He is our third guest on Suited Up, which is a talk style show that happens every Wednesday at 9 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. Do you feel like the number of languages that you've learned, do you feel like it's gotten easier as you've acquired new languages, or are there challenges still for you despite how many languages you know?
So that is a I gotta say, I have a friend here by the name of Vimir. She is Chinese originally, and she lives in Australia.
Okay.
I really appreciate her in the fact that she speaks English way better than I do, right? And I have tried to learn Chinese, which is Mandarin. And to be honest with you, after speaking 7 languages, I wanted to make Chinese to be my eighth. Mandarin. I tried. That was my first time putting a break. I said, pause. I'll be
Yeah,
back later.
yeah.
Yeah, that was hard. That
The,
was hard.
the characters are so unique compared to the alphabet that's used in the other languages that you speak. So yeah, I would imagine it's still pretty
Absolutely.
difficult.
And you can imagine too, when you speak any languages that come from Latin,
Mhm.
French, Italian, German, Spanish, English, Portuguese, and I speak some Afrikaans as well. All those languages come from a Latin character. So we just have to differentiate how we say A, R, O, and stuff like that. But Chinese is a whole new thing, you
Yeah.
know. So that is hard. That's
No,
why I say shout out to her.
here's a burning question. Now, I some people know this. I come from half my family's Hispanic, and they speak English and Spanish. And sometimes when they get excited or they're upset, they will move from English into Spanish. Is there a
Mm.
language, if you get an emotion that you can't help, or that will unconsciously just slip out? Is there a language that you just jump to, or have you ever had a language soup happen with you knowing 7 languages?
Thank you for all the love. I have to say this. The more languages you speak, the easier it is, but then your brain still process all the information in your primary language. So here
Mm.
is the thing. Sometimes when I say something, I might not even remember or recall the fact that I'm speaking French or Italian because I think that I'm speaking English to you. Then I
Oh,
catch myself saying, oh no, hold on, let me switch. And I flip the switch and I go back to English. So basically, I think in French and Italian, and then I have to translate in every other languages.
interesting. That's very interesting. So do you dream then in French and Italian?
I listen to a lot of French and Italian songs, but let me tell you this. They say French is the language of love. That's
Mm.
what they say. But to be honest with you, I like Italian and Portuguese better. That's why I
Oh,
got to give a shout out to friend down there. She's from Portugal, and she's actually the one practicing Portuguese with me. I love it.
wow. Look at this. So this platform too connects people. And speaking of connecting, make sure you're connecting with Jimmy. He's there in the box. Hit the favorite button on him. Third guest on Suited Up.
Merci
This
beaucoup.
platform, with there being so many people from so many places, for you, this has to be like a best case scenario of being able to network and find new friends and family.
I gotta say something, guys. Jimmy Chims is quite quite something. If you remember, when you gave me my tote bag back, I said something about this app. I said, I'm trying to show people a lifestyle of being respectful to everybody
Yeah.
without looking down on anyone. And the reason why I say that is we represent Meet Me, we represent this app, and we want to make sure that we are not only positive. My motto is good vibes only.
Sure.
I rather be boring but be positive than be negative and be popping on this app.
Mm,
I put friendship first, diamonds last.
sure.
I gotta say that, guys. Let's make sure that we represent this app in the best way that we can.
There's a saying that tags along with what you just said, and I've used it before on the rundown. But I'm gonna break my enthusiastic character real quick to really reiterate this and drive this home. Is that there's something I learned? I think I don't know if it was my mom or who I originally had heard this from, but the saying goes, "They may not remember exactly what you said, but they will remember exactly how you made them feel." And so I've always taken that to heart of anything that I do or how I operate, and that it needs to be with integrity and with the best intention. And as long as I'm operating within that, however things progress in the future, that we're good. So yeah, I agree with you 100%, man. In the long run, building a community around you that fosters a positive environment, that's going to fit you the best. Yes, the sensationalism and toxicity of what can be negative is interesting, but also what's the long-term outlook of something like that, or what's the
Exactly.
effect of it? So I agree
And
with
you
you
were
100%.
saying, I'm sorry to cut you off. I'm so
No,
sorry.
no,
You
no,
were
this is your show.
saying
This is
about
your show.
money.
This is your show. I'm just gonna rant.
Oh yeah, today you're gonna be my guest. I'm
Okay.
kidding. I'm kidding.
Yeah.
So Chris, I want you to do me a favor, right? I want you to do me just one favor. Click on my bio.
Okay.
Forget about everything that I say up there. Read the last sentence of my bio.
All right. I'll read it out loud. Is it the what I am now?
Yes,
Or the
sir.
okay. So
We,
what Jimmy Chims is now. Just a man of God trying to leave a positive footprint in the world full of sadness. So you want to be that kind of guy, and I respect that 100%.
yes. Not only that, I want to be that guy. I am that guy.
He there's there's this bowler, I forget his name. He says, "Who do you think you are? I'm him," or something like that. I cannot remember the guy's name, but there's great highlight clips of this dude. You got to check him out. That's interesting you say that, man.
Thank you, bro.
Okay, Jimmy, I'm looking at the time. There's something incredibly interesting about you that I would have never guessed that we need to talk about. So this is a sad, fun, scary fact about you. You survived most people's greatest fear.
Yes,
As a
sir.
child, what happened to you?
So, guys, brace yourself. Put your seatbelt if you got one, because
Mm,
this is a very crazy story. When I was a little kid, I was traveling with my auntie and my cousin, and the plane that we boarded crashed. Everybody died. The pilot, the passenger, 100 and something people, my auntie, my cousin, and all I remember was my auntie putting her hand on me and on my cousin because she was sitting in the middle. That was the last memory of her that I remember. I saw a tear coming down from her eye. And I remember asking this to God, is this how I'm going to die? I'm such a little kid.
I got to slow roll us just for a sec here because I know everyone's got a lot of questions, so I got to slow roll this. Number one, how old were you when this happened?
I was around 8 going to 10. I would say from 7 to 10. I can't remember exactly because after that, people would say I have PTSD or whatever because I forgot everything. I think it's a blessing in that situation because I
Sure.
didn't want to remember.
Sure. No, absolutely. It's horrible. Where were you flying? What were the destinations? Do you remember that part?
We were coming from France going to Italy. It was a plane going from France to Italy.
Wow. And and so you're on this plane. It's a tragedy. I did not know that part. I did not know anyone was injured.
And
Um,
somebody said, how many survivor? Chris, I know we're running out of time. I was the only survivor of that plane crashed.
this is true story. You are a sole survivor of a plane crash, an 8 year old, 8 years old.
Yes, sir.
This incredible. Is there any? Has this been reported anywhere? Is there? I mean, if anyone
Reporter,
wants to
I have a
learn,
newspaper in my dad's office in frame, and unfortunately, every time I see that newspaper, to be honest with you, I have a lot of I can't explain to you with words.
yeah. Uh, I mean, there's the term. It's called survivor's guilt. It's where people who walk away from tragedies, they feel this insurmountable weight of that. Why do they have this? You are doing fantastic things with your life. Everyone here is grateful and thankful that you are here, and we are as obviously horrific circumstances.
But
Um,
then, you know what I always say? I said, because of that and many other things that happened to me, God has a purpose for me. I'm a believer, I'm a Christian, and I have no shame to put my religion out there without trying to force it on nobody. But I just want to say this, I know for sure it's God's plan, and the best is yet to come.
sure, sure. Do do you know what happened with the plane? Why it went down? Was there something that
To be,
they
yeah, to
able
be
to figure
honest,
out?
I do not know because I was just a little kid. Like I said, all I could remember was my inner thought, trying
Mm,
to talk to God, trying to drag him into the situation and say, I have not lived a life yet. I am
mm,
such a little kid. Is it really how I'm gonna end? I
sure.
remember all I could remember was me thinking to myself, is it the end for me? I have done nothing of my life.
Mm.
I have literally not even live a life yet, you know. But then, brother, all I remember was waking up in the hands of a firefighter. And
Wow.
here's the scariest part. Not only that I was the sole survivor of that plane crash, but I had no wound, not a scratch. How?
Incredible.
I cannot explain to you how.
It's
I
incredible.
cannot explain to you how.
Yeah. Well, I mean, yeah. I've never heard anything like this in my life. Well, I mean, heard, but I've never talked to someone. And I've done this a lot of years, so that's incredible. Like I said, we're obviously all very thankful that you're
So much
here.
for the love and the gift. Appreciate it. Thank you so
Um,
much.
so there's many things that we can talk about, many things that we could expand on, but this is definitely not the note that I'm going to end our conversation on. So Jimmy, is there anything that we haven't talked about yet that either you're passionate about or that you feel like is a slice of your life that if people didn't know, they wouldn't have really gotten to know Jimmy Chims?
So, Chris, if you allow me, right, I gotta say three things. I always say three is the magic number.
Okay.
The first thing is this: Happy New Year, Happy Chinese New Year to all of you guys. All right, that's the first thing. Why? I think you guys all have to treat each other with what? Love and respect. That's my first thing. The second thing is Chris, as I sent you a message about the Life Fest, which is coming up, which is a great event. I'm going to talk to a few people about it. It's such a great event that I feel generous. I feel like sending you guys a couple of party buses because I do have my transportation company and we do luxury cars as well as party buses. And pretty soon, thanks God, I will be acquiring a few limo, hopefully. So, Chris, you got to pray for me.
We're rooting for you,
And
man.
that's number two. And number three, you and I need to work on this, brother. I already have the flyer. Team's French lesson. You and I
We
need
just had
to.
a call, man. Like, we are working on it together. You called me on the rundown, and I followed up with you. We are working on it. We're working on it together.
Absolutely. So those are the only three things that I wish to put out there and tell everybody who's been supporting me. You guys are so fantastic. Thank you so much. If you guys are in California, you ever need a ride, I'm your man. I'll
You
send you a
got it.
right.
Love it. Well, Jimmy, thank you so much for opening up about your story of survival. I know that's not necessarily something you want to dig into. Telling us about your life traveling around the world. There's so many more stories to unpack and things to talk about with you. But luckily, you can do it in 7 different languages and do it 7 different times, different ways. So if you want to learn more about Jimmy Chims, we didn't even talk about entrepreneurship, how you got started with your business, anything like that. There's so many things
So
that we
many
could talk
things,
about.
but the time is so limited. That's the reason why. I know you know, Chris. Time is your greatest asset, so use it wisely.
Sure, absolutely.
Time can be your greatest ally, or time can be your greatest enemy.
Sure. Yeah. And that's what we got to make sure that we keep the momentum of these conversations. And there was definitely no shortage of it tonight. So thank you for diving into it with us. Again, if you've not hit the favorite button on Jimmy Chintz, they're in the box. Please do it. Thank you so much for being in the box, man. Look forward to learning more about your French show coming up, talking about the entrepreneurship that you've done, and maybe even get a follow up on your Mandarin, see where you're at with that. So cheers to you, man. Thank you for being here.
Cheers, Chris. Appreciate you so much.
Much love. Jimmy Chims in the box. Hit the favorite button on him. Much love to you. Thank you for being here, my friend.
Chris, you tell me, should I get off the bus or would you kick me off the box?
I'll be the jerk. All right. Thanks. Hey,